Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day. And we sure appreciate you guys coming on with us live when you can. And of course, this will be turned into a podcast so they can listen at a later date. Brahim, Andrea, Niagara Falls, how are you guys? Okay, they're coming on. Get your notifications. Sandy from Fergus Falls, Minnesota. Karen from Kincardine. Madeleine from Chippewa, Quebec. Nick from our staff. Lori Lee from Ventura, California. Denise, how are you? From Chatham, Kent. Barbara. And Cheryl, how are you? And Janine, how are you? Wendy from Markham. And David from Ridgeway, good morning. Donna from Park Hill. And Fran from Orangeville. Kathy, Port Perry. And Bonnie, Annandale, Minnesota. Dorothy, PEI. Gertie, how are you? And Jeanette. And who's that? Milika? I don't know. I couldn't see. You know, how are you? And you know what's going up in the clouds? So, Elaine, how are you? Carol, West Virginia, and I want to sing. Lynn, Bear Lake. And that's Milika, I think, from Stouffville. Sorry, guys, I can't. Jeanette, how are you? Debbie from Windsor. Rosalinda, Niagara Falls. There's Kevin from Oshawa. Rita. And Wanda from Texas. Must be hot. Linda, good morning. You know how much we love Lindas. Carol. And another Linda from Uppsala. And Meta, Leamington. And I don't know who that is relaxing at the cottage. Lori, Alberta. And Gail, I think, from Baxter. And you see, I'm just guessing now. Fran, did I hit the clouds again? You must have. Vince Tirana. Dave, how are you from Gilmore? Andrea, a couple of more guys and we'll get going. Darlene, how are you? I'm sorry for the folks that I miss every day. Evangeline, Maureen, how are you? Penticton, British Columbia. Diane from Thunder Bay. Wanda and Carol, Moncton, New Brunswick. And we love those Wandas from Virginia. And Pam. And I don't know. You go up in those clouds. I don't know if that's just my settings, guys, here. Or Marl from Ottawa. I don't know if I could get darker there or... I don't know. We can try that if we want to. We're moving too fast, Sandra. And Jose and Mark. Norma. Medicine Hat, Alberta, Arlene. Okay, let's get going. Okay, guys. This is a study done between the connection between the gut and the brain. Okay? Now, you haven't had to follow us for very long to know that we talk about this a lot. Okay? What happens in the gut don't stay in the gut. Now, we talk about the liver like that. What happens in the liver, it's not Las Vegas, doesn't stay in the liver. But it's interesting that science and medicine in particular is starting to pay attention to what Hippocrates said a couple of thousand years ago, that all disease starts in the gut. The father of medicine said that. Now, he was no dummy. And today we realize there's a huge connection between the gut and the brain. Now, listen, this is the study, okay? And then I'm going to break it down for you and how this happens. Okay? A 6-point breakdown. how it happens, okay? So let me read the study. The role of gut dysbiosis in Alzheimer's disease. Okay, so that's the headline. The role of gut dysbiosis in Alzheimer's disease. Okay? Now let me break that down into even simpler English. The role of leaky gut in Alzheimer's disease. The role of leaky gut. Leaky gut, leaky brain. Leaky gut, leaky lungs. Leaky gut, leaky sinuses. Leaky gut, leaky skin. Any autoimmune. You got any autoimmune. Sjogren's, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, thyroiditis, Hashimoto's, Graves, you name the autoimmune disorder, rheumatoid arthritis, it starts in the gut. And I've been saying that, guys, for almost 50 years, and I mean it. You got to look to the gut. It's one of the seeds of disease. You know how we at the Martin Clinic talked about the seeds of disease. What are they? Well, one of them is insulin. Have you ever heard of it? Every day we talk about insulin, right? And insulin resistance and metabolic syndrome. So that's a food problem. Okay? That's a food problem. And the other one is leaky gut. Leaky gut. Okay? Now, I want to break this down for you. How leaky gut, what medicine calls gut dysbiosis. Okay? When they say dysbiosis, what they mean is there's an overgrowth. There's a war going on in your gut, guys. It's invisible. You can't see it. And that's why it took so long for medicine to catch up, because they couldn't see it. I remember telling patients 40-something years ago, you got yeast, you got fungus, and they go to their doctors after. Dr. Martin said, I have fungus. Now, they know what a yeast infection is, right? That can happen. But fungus in the blood? Yeast in the blood? You tell that Dr. Martin he's a quack. And if you ever had fungus or yeast in your blood, you would die. No. And now, what they know and what they didn't know then is this whole thing about the microbiome, your gut. Well, it's not only your gut. You got about, I say 4, Tony says 5 pounds, Tony Jr. We don't argue, because I'm right. No, he's right. He's like his mother. He's smart. Now, you got 5 pounds of bacteria. So when you get on a scale, just take 5 pounds off. Why? Because it's just bacteria. Nothing you can do about it. But the microbiome, so that's just a big word for bacteria. It's everywhere. It's on your skin. It's in your sinuses. It's in your lungs. And one thing, this is interesting. It wasn't long ago that medicine said, nah, there's no microbiome in the brain. There's no bacteria up there. They were wrong. And the more powerful the microscopes became, the more they, oh yeah, you know what? There's a microbiome in the brain, and it communicates directly with the gut. They talk to each other. Those bacteria, submicroscopic, they talk to each other. They communicate. Hello down there. Okay? They communicate. What we know today about the microbiome. Okay, so now back to what dysbiosis is, okay? Dysbiosis is when the war, the invisible war that's going on, especially in your gut, okay? Because that's where most of the bacteria are, okay? Trillions and trillions of bacteria in your gut. And it's part of your life. You can't live without them. The problem is when you get an imbalance, when you have more bad guys than good. We call that a dysbiosis, okay? And really, what happens there with this dysbiosis is it creates a leaky gut, okay? So again, illustrations, you know me, I like to talk illustrations. Think of the United States of America, okay? On their northern border is us, Canadians, okay? We're your friendlies, okay? But the border is sealed. Not easy to get into the United States of America from Canada. You better have your passport. And the border's sealed from Western Canada to Eastern Canada, right? And the border guards are pretty miserable. They didn't take the Dale Carnegie courses, okay? How to win friends and influence people. What are you doing here? Where are you going? When are you coming back? Hey, I thought I was coming to spend some money in the US of A. Okay? I'm a friendly. They don't treat you like that. Anyway, they got a job to do. Now, on the southern border of the United States, okay? And guys, this isn't political. This is just the way it is. You got a pretty porous border there. People are coming in without a passport, without identification. They walk in, okay? And so that's an illustration because that's what leaky gut is. Leaky gut is you have a border between your gut and your blood. And when your border is sealed, the only thing that gets into your blood from your gut is water, nutrients, macros, proteins are broken down, fats broken down, carbs, if you're eating them, broken down, and vitamins and minerals. And your blood, remember, your blood is the river of life. Okay, the Bible tells us that. The blood is the river of life. It brings all your nutrients. It brings all your oxygen. It brings your water. It brings, okay, from your brain to your toes. Now, your body is designed, that gut blood barrier is designed not to let anything come in that don't belong into your blood. No bacteria, bad guys, no viruses, no undigested food, no nothing. No fungus, no yeast. Your blood's supposed to be pristine. Okay? The river's not supposed to be polluted. But what happens? Well, we live in a world where antibiotics, I always start with them because antibiotics, there's nothing that can save your life more than an antibiotic. But there's nothing that can destroy your gut lining, that invisible one layer of cells lining between your gut and your blood, the border. Nothing that will destroy that border faster than an antibiotic. It kills the good guy. It kills the bad guys. Hallelujah. But it kills the good guys too. Okay? So I always say, the greatest discovery of the 20th century in medicine has saved the lives of millions and millions and millions and millions of people. Antibiotics. But the double-edged sword of an antibiotic is leaky gut. And nobody talks about it, but that's a key. It destroys the barrier. And now you have a southern border with bad guys creeping into the bloodstream. Okay? They're creeping in. Terrorists that can create havoc in the body. And I've been talking about this, guys, like I said, for close to 50 years. Antibiotics, wonderful. But they start a slow leak. They start a slow leak. Okay? And then, okay, what you get, excuse me. Now let me show you. I've got this here. Okay? And let's see. Okay? So, can you see that? Gut and brain. Okay, gut and brain. You see that? What's the connection? And then we've got leaky gut. Okay? Leaky gut. First step. What happens? Antibiotics. All the chemicals and whatever that can affect your microbiome. Okay? Can cause a dysbiosis. We're swallowing, excuse me, a credit card and a half a week of plastic. On average. It's the world in which we live, guys. Okay? People are worried about climate change. I'm more worried about environmental things like plastic. Because we absorb that stuff. And all the chemicals, the air fresheners, and these antibacterial soaps, and all these things have a negative effect on our microbiome. It's not like you just drop dead, but you develop a slow leak. And now the blood is not pristine anymore. Okay, so you see, okay, through the blood, okay, leaky gut, hold on a sec. Some phlegm in my throat. Okay. I'm talking too much. Okay. Leaky gut. Blood. Okay. Number one. Pro-inflammatory bacteria. Fungus. Okay. I'm laughing. I need some water. I should have brought some in. Okay, let me just take a breath. Okay. Pro-inflammatory bacteria, fungus, heavy metals, they all get in the bloodstream. They don't belong in the bloodstream, but they can get in the bloodstream. When you have a sealed border between your gut and your blood, nothing gets in. Okay? Nothing gets in that don't belong. But when you have a leaky gut, like I said, due to antibiotics, chemicals, plastics, I don't know. Lots of stuff can do it, but that creates a pro-inflammatory response because you got foreign substances that don't belong in the blood. Now, number 2, the blood-brain barrier is compromised. That's step number 2. So you got a border between your blood and your gut, right? Established. You got a border between your gut and your blood. You also have a border between your blood and your brain. They didn't even know this. This is new. There's a microbiome that makes up your blood-brain barrier. They knew it was there, but they didn't know how it operated. So the same type of border that's between your gut and your blood is another border between your blood and your brain. You see, your body is so fearfully and wonderfully made. It's meant to keep the bad guys out of your brain. Okay? So now, bacteria, fungus, yeast. You know what I call yeast? The Trojan horse. Because the Trojan horse, fungus, will carry with it heavy metals like mercury, like lead, like cadmium, aluminum. How would you get aluminum in the brain? You have a barrier. How did it get in there? Well, it got compromised. It got compromised. Leaky gut, leaky brain. So the second step is now the blood-brain barrier gets compromised. You got garbage going into the brain. You can't see it. It's microscopic. But it's there nonetheless. Okay? Now, so you get an alteration in the blood-brain barrier. Step number 1 is leaky gut. And then you get the pro-inflammation. That's why your body responds. Okay? Let me spray my throat again. I just sprayed with oil of oregano. So, do you see the steam coming out my ears? Oh, my word, my word. Okay. And the second step, blood-brain barrier alteration, permeability. Okay? The third step is you have an invasion. See that? You have an invasion now. Fungus, bacteria, viruses that don't belong, heavy metals that don't belong in your brain. Okay? So that's step number 3 here. The central nervous system gets invaded. CNS. See that there? Okay. I don't know if you can read my writing or not. I didn't pass art. Okay. And then you get cognitive impairment. That's the fourth step. The brain starts to be affected. And one of the areas especially is the memory center in the brain. Okay? I mean, all of it can be affected, but the memory center in the brain. You have your hypothalamus and you have your hippocampus. Campus, brain, memory, school, campus. Easy to remember. Hypothalamus is more for your hormones and that, but they get affected. Cognitive impairment. And then the last step is neurodegeneration, okay? Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, okay? Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. I wrote those down, okay? And the reason I did is because I'm going to show you, if I get a chance tomorrow, I'll show you why they call Alzheimer's too type 3 diabetes. So you got a double whammo on the brain. We'll look at the second part when we look at sugar and we look at why they called in 2005, they named Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes of the brain. We'll talk about that. But I wanted you to talk about this study that came out on the role of gut dysbiosis in Alzheimer's disease. Leaky gut leading to neurodegeneration, Alzheimer's, and we see such an uptake today. Not only in Alzheimer's and dementia, but another form of dementia is Parkinson's. We see such an uptake in Parkinson's. Like Parkinson's been around for a long time, guys. But like today, it's like an epidemic today. Leaky gut, leaky brain. In Parkinson's, they almost invariably will see high levels of mercury. High levels of mercury. High levels of lead. How did it get in there? Leaky gut. Fungus. Candida. Yeast is a transporter. It's the Trojan horse that gets in. And don't feed the bears, because if you feed it sugar, yeast will thrive. Yeast will thrive. And there's some pathologists that say all cancers are fungus-based. Worth noting, isn't it? Worth noting. Okay, guys. That was the lesson today. Okay, so what's Friday? Question and answer Friday. Send your questions in. We appreciate that. Guys, have I told you how much I love this audience lately? I haven't? Well, we do. Very, very, very much. And you guys make this show the success it is. Now, you can share this. You can tell your friends and family. If they can't come on live, I'd love to see them live. But if they can't, no problem. They can listen to the Doctors In podcast on their favorite smart device. And we appreciate that. The millions and millions that have downloaded the Doctors In podcast. Guys, that's you guys. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.